Hello and welcome once again to the Chris Boden Show, ASA Miami Silver Storm. Once again, Brandon Odoi, your host. Coach, it's been a long off season, but you're finally back in the swing of things. Welcome back. Good to see you and good to talk to you. Good to be back on the show again.
It's great to be back and excited about the season this year.
Hey, another exciting season here with ASA Miami football. We're in full swing now. The team is 2-1. Had a couple of I would say, warm-up games, some starter games, and did pretty well. Let's talk about advanced prep.
Yeah, we came out first game of the season against advanced prep, and we played well. We played, did what we should have done. The game got a little bit shortened because of lightning, but we came out and played well. Talk
about the effects early, not only for ASA, but also all the college institutions across the state of Florida with this, the hurricanes.
It was definitely hard for the kids and the coaches, and once we played on Monday night, the hurricane, we saw it was going to hit by Tuesday, so we told all the kids to go home. They had to vacate. They had to shut down student housing. Our college shut down. We had 2 straight bye weeks that we were excited about to really get prepared for snow college. So those 2 bye weeks, we didn't practice at all. The kids were displaced. Most of the coaches were displaced as well. So 2 full weeks off, and then we come back the week of snow and finally get back on the practice field on Tuesday. The kids have done nothing, so we basically had about 2.5 days of practice before we headed into the snow game.
But now you're coming into a snow game, number 5 team ranked in the country in junior college, and then you've got Irma to deal with. You got this big layoff, but then you come in and you play awesome. And after the game, the coaches were like, "Wow, well, we didn't really expect that." Yeah. But just talk about the game. Let's break it down. And first of all, let's talk about the comeback.
Yeah, everything in football and life is about overcoming adversity. And there's not another game, win or loss, I probably ever walked away from more proud of our team's effort. And these kids fought. The effort was there from the players, the coaches. We had to overcome a ton of adversity during the course of the week with a lot of things. Hialeah was under a water boil warning for 3 days, so coaches had to pick up ice and water, bring it down. We had coaches, half the coaches weren't even back because of the hurricane. So, but yeah, we get to the game and the effort was amazing by our kids.
The interesting thing to me is you're coming into the Georgia military game this year, having been battle tested, knowing that, hey, you can play with some of the top teams in the country, and now you're going into that game and you've got kids, sort of a mixed roster of freshmen and sophomores, but you've got kids that believe, hey, look, we can beat these guys.
No, and Georgia military is a great team. They're having a great season. They only have 1 loss, and them on film, they're another great team that we have to accomplish what we need to do. But with anything else, it's about us. It's about us not turning the ball over and limiting the penalties and executing. And I feel if we do those things, I think we're going to be all right. I think it's going to be a competitive game, but it's a tough environment up there. But yes, definitely having another junior college game before we play them, it's a huge plus. It's a huge plus, and I think that it breeds confidence with our players and with our coaching staff that, hey, we played very well against snow after not doing anything, for just 3 practices over 20 days.
Coming back, starting with quarterback, of course you got Vashawn Waiters, who we're very familiar with, but a name we're interested in discussing is the Toledo transfer, Matt Winsler. I mean, talk about this kid, 6'4", kind of Tom Brady lookalike. What does he bring to the table this year?
He's been great. It's a hard transition, coming all the way down here, but he's been tremendous. He throws the ball extremely well. He's accurate, smart kid. Very athletic for his size, too, which is, I don't think you realize that when you look at him, but both those guys, him and Vashawn, have done a great job competing. They both played equal amounts going forward, and I really foresee them both, kind of split reps going forward. And the competition is the best thing for any position, and those guys have a very healthy relationship and a very healthy competition between them, and it's great watching them go toe to toe in practice.
They're not alone on offense. You got Lloyd Howard that's coming back. He's having a wonderful year, really. Let's just talk about him, what he's brought back to the table, particularly his game against snow.
Yeah, no, he was fantastic against snow. He is extremely hard to tackle in the open field. I don't think Snow realized, the type of speed that we have down here. Lloyd is one of our leaders on offense. He's a vocal leader. He does a tremendous job from the leadership standpoint with us, and having him back, a guy we're comfortable with, a guy that fights through whatever he's got to fight through, and gives everything that he has every game and every practice. And he's a lot of fun to work with in practice. He's a funny kid. He's a loud kid, but we love him here, and he's done a great job.
Taylor Porter, another kid, FCS transfer from Indiana State, doing really well for you in the backfield. And of course, when you look at the receiving core, this is a group where you're really focusing in on now, especially as you're getting some vertical things done. Let's talk about the freshman Roy Livingston from right here in Miami Northwestern, not too far from here.
Yeah, no, we were really excited to get Roy. It was not an overly long recruiting process, but once we got him here, he's been great. He's done, he's picked up the offense very quickly. When you put the ball in his hands, I think he's a special kid. He's made some great plays against Snow, and the confidence he brings on the field has been great, and to go along with the rest of the receiving core.
He's leading the team in all-purpose yardage, 257 yards for him. 109 receiving and kick return. I think he's making an impact. 148 yards on the kick return, and he didn't even play in one of the games, so he's a guy that we're watching moving forward. And let's talk about Stevenson Fernandes. That's a name from last year that obviously contributed. What is he bringing with his sophomore leadership this year?
Exactly that, sophomore leadership. He's a reliable kid on the field. He's a great receiver. He just, playing with the sophomores, you can see the confidence level in them. Nothing phases them. They catch usually everything, and we love having him here. He's done a tremendous job. I'm excited to see where his offers will go, in the very short future.
Absolutely, and Devin Olwell is leading all receivers with 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. And finishing off on the offensive side of the ball, you've got a guy that you really like at the tight end position. This is a kid who, Coach, you feel like is going to be a heavy BCS guy. Why don't you just tell us more about him?
Yeah, Chris Barrett transferred in from Georgia Southern, and we got him. Like I said, he contacted us. We were interested in him. I actually coached his older brother 15 years ago at Fordham University. So getting him, and once we figured it all out, it was kind of it's a small world. It's an amazing story. So we were really excited to get him. I mean, he's, I think he is a Division I tight end. He was already on scholarship at Georgia Southern. A lot of talent. He brings veteran leadership. Being an older guy and with his work ethic is great. And, we're, like I said, he's really brought a lot to the offense.
Talk about another guy who brings in veteran leadership, Louisville transfer. At the kicking position, Austin
Lazuski.
Yeah. He's another guy you have a connection with, and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah, no, I met his younger brother was on my son's soccer team, and his mom and my wife started talking and ended up getting us a Louisville transfer kicker. So it's a small world, but like I said, the recruiting side of it, it's funny because that happens more often than not. And I think he is going to be one of the top punters and kickers in the nation, and he's only going to be here for this season. And you can see it. I mean, he is a weapon from the punting and from the field goal and the extra points and everything. I mean, he's been darn near perfect.
6 for 6 on all his field goals with a long of 42. Got a lot of guys last year, and this is what it's ultimately about, who signed and moved on to 4-year collegiate institutions, a couple of FCS guys. Let's talk about Shamar Hamilton that went to Colorado, Sean Young, the kicker, as you know, at FIU, had a lot of scouts watching him during your scouting day here. And then you also have Ladarius Mack, of course, his brother's Khalil plays with the Oakland Raiders. He's off to Buffalo. And then Jalen Dose at FAMU. Overall, 22 kids that went to 4-year institutions from ASA Miami. The pride you must feel first year in the program, now going into year 2, being able to do that much for so many kids.
Yeah. No, and this, it's great. I mean, it's our job to move them on, but going into my 9th year of coaching junior college level, this is the most rewarding coaching job in sports. If you're in the NFL, you cut a guy you don't like. Anything professionally, hey, it's not working out, we're letting you go. College-wise, once you sign the letter of intent, from a coaching standpoint, you as a coach, you have them, or you're stuck with them if you don't like them. But in high school, you get to see kids for 4 years. From our perspective, we're bringing in kids for a very short period of time that didn't, for whatever reason, didn't sign scholarships. And when you watch these kids move on and take scholarship opportunities, and the background of it, and how quickly they turn their life around, it's so rewarding. Watching a kid come in with nothing and then all of a sudden playing on ESPN and ABC, NBC, it really feels like we've done a good job with them. And then not so much just for, the big time kids that signed D1, but when you're watching, making sure guys are getting D2 scholarships and NAI scholarships, and making sure that, they're going to good academic D3 schools, and that you're putting the kids on the right path.
Let's talk about Georgia Military on defense. As we come into this game, we've got some interesting guys that you're going to need to step up for you. Peter Agave, Charles Garrett, and other guys that are going to need to really slow that Georgia Military offense down, because last year that was the big key. They just put up points and they put them up quick.
Yeah, no, I really feel this year, having a full year to recruit, I really feel very good about our depth. Peter Agave is a defensive end. He's only played 6 games of high school football. He's from Nigeria. He came in here. He's the nicest kid you ever met, but on the field, he is full tilt go. He is a great player. He's going to end up probably at a high 1A school. Charles Garrett, our nose guard, is a returning starter from last year. And he's being recruited by a lot of 1A schools. Cedric Bryant, one of our defensive ends, returning sophomore. Again, doing a great job. And defensively, I think we're a little bit more sophomore laden across the board, minus the linebackers. Most of the linebackers are freshmen. Darryl Malone is a transfer from Coastal Carolina at corner. He's done a great job. And really the whole defense, with the way Coach Anthony's running, it's built on speed. It's a 3-3 stack. It's difficult to go against in practice. It's difficult to prepare for. He's got those guys playing great, and he's got them forcing a lot of turnovers. And against Snow, I know we forced a ton of turnovers in the third quarter that kind of jump-started us and got us right back into the game. So a lot of defense guys, and then obviously Leroy James, returning starter at safety, one of our captains. He's been awesome out there, and he's one a really very, very good player for us.
Well, it's going to be a wonderful game this weekend. Of course, we'll be back on the show next week to kind of wrap it all up. But the Silver Storm do head north to Georgia Military for now. This is Coach Chris Boden. I'm Brandon Odoi. This is the Coach Chris Boden Show. Every week, ASA Miami Silver Storm. Go Storm. This Storm's for you. It's a Hotbed World.